Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा श्रीवासा आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. All glories to all the assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Chinmayi Vrajapriya Devi Dasi, welcoming all of you to the mid-morning japa session. I thank all of you for attending today's session, and please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. It is time for us to move on to our next part of the session, which is class on Caitanya Bhagavat. So before we start the class, may I know who all have joined today so that we can welcome you all?
Hare Krishna, Chinmayi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you, Mataji, for your warm welcome.
Hare Krishna, Preethi Vilasini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Welcome to the call, Mataji, and thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Welcome to the call, Mataji, and thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna, Chinmayi Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika from Texas.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Please welcome to the call, Mataji, and accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, this is Sukakar Krishnadas from Chennai. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada, all goes to all the Gurudevs, all goes to all the devotees in Bhakti Sangha. Thank you for allowing me to join my group. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Chinmayi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Sukhakar Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Welcome to the call, Prabhuji, and thank you so much for giving your association with us every day. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sudevi.
Hare Krishna, Sudevi, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Welcome to the call, dear, and thank you so much for your beautiful chanting. Anybody else would like to introduce yourselves today?
All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to devotees in Bhakti Sangha Group. It is Rinki from London. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Rinki Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the Gurudevas. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining our classes. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's move on to our next session. And we'll start our today's session by reading Srila Prabhupada's quote. The quote for today is, "When I go to Los Angeles, I'm in Vaikuntha." When I go to New York, I am in Vaikuntha. Wherever we have got a temple, that is Vaikuntha. So why shall I have objection? Do your duty nicely and see what Krishna desires. Let it be fulfilled, but you do your duty. It is your duty to pray to Krishna as affectionate children and let Krishna decide. And I have no objection either. This was quoted by His Divine Grace in Vrindavan on May 29th, 1977. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I have a special request to make. I request all the devotees who are assembled here to sincerely pray for the speedy recovery of Her Grace Kaumodaki Mataji. So Mataji has been one of the initial members of Bhakti Sangha from a very, very long time. Mataji has given her association with us, her most valuable association with us. And she has attended each and every class which has gone on in Bhakti Sangha from the past 10 years. And Mataji has personally trained so many devotees in this group. She's an amazing devotee. And she is right now currently in the hospital. And so we can dedicate all our chanting and all the classes which are going on in Bhakti Sangha to Mataji's speedy recovery. So praying for Mataji's recovery, can we all chant Hare Krishna 3 times? Can we all please unmute ourselves and chant Hare Krishna 3 times?
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna.
Thank you all devotees. Vaishnava's prayers are very quickly answered by the Lord. So we will pray for Mataji's recovery. And let us move on to the next part of our session, which is class on Caitanya Bhagavat. So today we have our dear Her Grace Preethi Vilasini Mataji with us. And she is going to talk on Caitanya Bhagavat Madhya Khanda, first chapter from texts 225 to 229. So Mataji, very eagerly waiting to hear from you. Please take over the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much for joining us and giving us your very valuable association today. My humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas on the call, and my sincere prayers and obeisances to our great Madhya Mataji, who has been an integral part of our life all these years. Having said that, into the subject matter, Caitanya Bhagavata, as Mataji said, from Adi Khanda, and this is chapter 1, verses 225 onwards. As you before we head, let's start off with a prayer. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinadharinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Meshwaram. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvitesha Shunyavadi Pachyayate Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। आजानुलम्बितभुजौ कनकावदातौ सङ्कीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलायकान्तौ विश्वम्भरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ। जयति जयति देवा कृष्ण चैतन्य चन्द्रो जयति जयति कीर्तिस्तस्य नित्या पवित्रा Jayati Jayati Bhritya Tasya Vishveshwamurtir Jayati Jayati Nritya Tasya Sarva Priyanam. Reading from Sri Caitanya Bhagavata, this is verse 225. Mata dhukka prabhu koti koti janma pailu vistara prabhu sabamora karma. O Lord, I have suffered this way for millions and millions of births, simply as a result of my karma. A commentary by Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The word vistara means collection of or abundance. The word karma refers to the results of previous misdeeds, sinful activities, misfortune, ill fortune, and bad luck. Question to the audience, who's reciting this verse in this context? Anybody would like to answer?
Jiva?
Very good. Jiva, where? Where is the Jiva stuck at this point in time? Good job, Sudevi.
Womb?
Yes. Oh my God. You're so intelligent. Very nice. The child in the womb is offering prayers to Krishna. Yeah. Very good. You're following the track. Very good. So the child is telling, oh my Lord, I have suffered this way for millions and millions of births, simply as a result of what? Not as a result of your curse, not as a result of someone else's wrongdoing, not as a result of my father's sin. No, because of my sinful activities, my previous misdeeds, my sinful activities, my misfortune, my ill fortune, and my bad luck. It's all my fault, right? So everybody has their own share of faults, and we are suffering only because of this. This is what the child in the womb is telling Krishna. So the point here is that a devotee, he doesn't blame God for everything. He doesn't say that, oh God, it's all because of you. You created this problem for me. But he considers his unfortunate situation as his karma and his suffering. And he accepts all reversals without rehearsals. So none of the reversals in our life are told to us, oh, you're going to get this reversal. Everything is a surprise. I won't even call it a surprise, a shock. We are not told about it, but we have to face it. So reversals without rehearsals. Brahma is the very first created living entity. He is the biggest controller of this universe. And this Brahma, whose birth was so simple, here is a child in the womb and the child is suffering and he is offering prayers. But imagine Brahma. What did Brahma not have? He was born from the navel of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So it was a very simple birth. From the navel of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu sprouted a lotus. And on that little lotus sat happy Brahma. So very easy birth. No confusion, no distress, nothing. And he is the greatest of all controllers. He's so powerful. He can control anybody in the universe. That Brahma, he prays in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very famous prayer, most often quoted verse by Srila Prabhupada. Tatteno kampam sushamikshamano gunjana evatma kritam vipakam krit vak vapubir vidadhan namaste jiveta yo mukti padesa dhaipak. So what does that verse mean? That verse means, oh my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, word, and body, is surely eligible for liberation because it has now become his rightful claim. How is he eligible for liberation? How is he Mukti Padesa Daibak? How did he become eligible for liberation? Because he was patiently waiting, right? Patiently suffering the reactions of his own past misdeeds with a grateful heart. He was not blaming the Lord. So he had a grateful heart and he was suffering his own misdeeds. So the word susamikshamana in this verse means that the devotee waits. Can we please have everybody? I'll mute everybody and we'll unmute after after class. Thank you. Okay. So Sushamikshamana means it indicates that a devotee waits for the mercy of the Lord even during suffering. He waits, he suffers, and Lord explains in the Bhagavad Gita that a person who surrenders during such suffering is no longer liable to any of the reactions of the previous karma. So anybody, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Parityeja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So if we sincerely surrender to the Lord, and not only at the time of suffering, but at any point in time, Krishna says that he is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of his previous karma. However, because in the mind of the devotee may still have some remnants of his previous sinful mentality, the Lord removes these lingering last vestiges of this enjoying tendency by giving the devotee certain punishments that may appear to be sinful reactions. So from a third person's point of view, it may appear that this devotee is suffering. He's really, really suffering. And the Lord is punishing him. But it is not so. The Lord is very, very merciful. He understands the tendency of independent enjoyment of every jiva. All jivas, we all have this tendency to enjoy independent of the Lord. So the Lord appears to be giving a particular kind of punishment, and this kind of a punishment or this kind of a suffering is designed by the Lord to curtail the mentality of this jiva to enjoy independently. That's all. Okay. Though a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotional service, until he's completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he might maintain a slight inclination to enjoy. It is there in everybody's heart because we all want to enjoy this false happiness in this world. So it is there in everyone's heart. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate this remaining enjoying spirit. That's all the Lord is doing. He's creating a situation so that remaining last with but little bit lingering desire, that is also removed completely by the Lord. So the unhappiness that a devotee, a sincere devotee, a surrendered devotee is experiencing, or the suffering he is apparently experiences, is not technically a karmic reaction, okay? But it is the Lord's special mercy for inducing this devotee to completely let go of the attachments of this world and return home back to Godhead. So as far as the devotee is concerned, like we see the child in the womb here, he's telling it is my reaction. That is how a devotee should think. A devotee should not think, oh, the Lord is giving me a punishment. No, a devotee always thinks it is my reaction. But how should a third person view this case? A third person should understand that it is not really karma because this devotee is surrendered. How can it be his karma? But it is a special treatment given by the Lord. Now, this may appear like as if the Lord is a sadist. No, he's not. He is just, facilitating our further surrender, complete surrender unto his lotus feet. So a sincere devotee, he earnestly wants to go back to the Lord. So he willingly accepts this Lord's merciful punishment and he offers respects and obeisance in his heart, words, and body. That is what the verse is saying. So, with vak vapuvir vidadhan namaste. With his heart, with his words, with his body, he continues to offer respects to the Lord in spite of the suffering. Such a bona fide servant of the Lord considers all the hardship that he is going through as a very small price to pay. For what? For gaining the kingdom of the Lord, for gaining the personal association of the Lord, because he becomes Samukti Padesa Dhaibak. He becomes a rightful heir to the spiritual world. to the word, to the association of the Lord. So such a person, he feels that this is a very, very small price to pay to gain the personal association of the Lord, and he's a legitimate son, right? So he's a legitimate son who has gained the spiritual world. So he's Daibak. And just like how we cannot approach the sun directly by not developing the quality of fire. A person who's made of this body, this Panchabhutika Sharira, he cannot go directly to the sun. It is not possible. You need to have a body made of fire to approach the sun. So similarly, Lord Krishna, he tells us that without undergoing enough purificatory process, which may be like as if you're suffering, you cannot approach the Lord. In fact, this is a curative treatment that is administered by the personal hand of the Lord. This is what Prabhupada says in his purport. He says, this treatment that this person is getting is like the curative treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord. So just think about an ocean. An ocean, it has very ferocious waves on the surface, right? So the world that we are in and the problems that we face appear to be very, very difficult to succumb. They are extremely difficult. Lots of terrible, terrible waves that are going to submerge us into the ocean. That's how we feel every minute. But remember, below these terrible waves is a steady current. As you go deeper into the ocean, you'll see that the ocean has a steady current. There are no waves beneath the surface, right? This steady current is actually the mercy of the Lord. It is very accessible. In the next few verses, we'll see the description of the Phalgu river. So it is very, very accessible. But we should not get carried away thinking that this is all the world is. We should try to access that steady current that is there below these waves. Okay? You all know the story of Narada Muni from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Narada Muni, he in his second birth, the first time he was the Gandharva Upabarhana. In the second life of Narada Muni, he got cursed to be born as the maidservant of a Shudra. When he was the son of the maidservant of the Shudra, when he was born as a Shudra, who was the son of the maidservant, at that time, he had the opportunity to get the association of the Bhakti Vedantas. They gave him some prasadam, and by their mercy, he just accepted the Mahaprasadam once. And that made him turn towards Krishna, and slowly he started developing a taste for devotional service. Soon, after a few years, though he was less than 5 years old, his mother died. Now, his mother was the only relation he had in his life. He didn't have anybody else. And these sages, they were never in one place. They kept moving. So Narada, this little baby Narada, in his previous birth, the son of the maidservant, he didn't have anybody to take care of him. Anybody. His mother also died. Now, what would he do? The first reaction for such a person would be to blame God, right? Oh, I did devotional service. I took the association of your devotees, but what did you do to me? I have nobody now. So the natural tendency is to blame God. However, you know what Narada Muni did? This is a very beautiful verse in the first canto, 6th chapter, verse number 10. It says, Tada tad aham ishasya bhaktanam sham abhipsataha anugraham manyamanaha pratishtam disham uttaram. I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees. And so thinking, I started for them. I took it as a special benediction, anugraham, manyamanaha. I thought like that. I thought that this is a special mercy of the Lord. How can someone think that it is a special mercy when he's put into such a drastic reversal? That is a devotee, a person who accepts even reversals as the special mercy of the Lord. And Prabhupada very beautifully, he says in the purport, confidential devotees of the Lord, they see in every step, even if it is a step of reversal, a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be a very odd or a difficult moment in one's life from a mundane perspective is accepted as a special mercy of the Lord. So mundane prosperity, Prabhupada says, it is like a fever. And by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished and the spiritual health is obtained step by step. So mundane people who see this, they misunderstand it. But material prosperity is actually a kind of fever. If everything is going perfectly in your life, what does the statement mean? It means that if everything is going very well in your life, it is like increasing a fever. But from time to time, the Lord very mercifully, he puts a check on this so that in the pretext of undergoing that particular problem, you will reach out to the Lord. You will learn to surrender more to the Lord. Every reversal is an opportunity for us to surrender more sincerely to the Lord. Okay, so we learn this from the story of Narada Muni, and this is what the child is praying in the womb. The child is telling that it is my sinful reaction, but the child understands that this is an opportunity to take the shelter of the Lord. Now we'll read verse number 226. Se dukkha vivat prabhu rahu bhare bhara yadi tora smriti thake sarva vera sara. O Lord, may those miseries and dangers come again and again as long as your remembrance, which is the essence of the Vedas, remains intact. What is the child praying now? The child is telling, may those miseries and dangers come again and again. Now, this is a devotee. He says, it's okay, let it come. Why? Because I can think about you, I can take your shelter. Let it come as long as your remembrance, which is the essence of the Vedas, remain intact. Now, here is a condition that the child is telling. The child is telling, I'm ready to suffer, but I don't want to forget you. So the child is requesting the mercy of the Lord that whatever situation I may be in, let me always remember you. Now, whose prayer does this remind you of? Anybody? Oh, I can't. I'll have to unmute you, right? So, do you want to raise hand? Anybody who knows whose prayer does this remind you of, this verse? Yeah, I see two raise hands. Sudevi and then Anita Mataji. Sudevi?
Kunti Devi.
Very nice. Anita.
Hare Krishna Mataji, same answer Mataji, Kunti Devi.
So she was the one who prayed, right? Give me reversals again and again, and that way I have an opportunity to surrender unto you. So what I'll do now is, it's a very long purport, and I will mix it up with some realizations of Srila Prabhupada that is there throughout his book, and I will explain the purport to you at different points. So there is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, again in the prayers of Brahma. So this 14th chapter of the 10th canto discusses the prayers of Lord Brahma. It's a very, very beautiful chapter because Brahma, he is the father of all living entities and he is our representative. He's like our father. So our father, he knows our problem. He's also in a similar situation. Now, Krishna, he is very spiritual. He's transcendental. He may not be able to understand our problem, but a guru or a person who's in this material world, but still much more sincere and serious and much more advanced than us, can be a representative of our issues. So we see in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 14th chapter, Brahma offers such beautiful prayers. And some of his prayers are sometimes the most often quoted verses of Srila Prabhupada. So in his prayer, like we just read Satyanukampam, right? Like that, there is another prayer of Brahma that says, for those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, and who is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon, the ocean of material world is like a water contained in a calf's footprint. The goal is Parampadam, Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. You all know this verse. Padam padam yat vipadam natesham. Srimad Prabhupada quotes it all the time. This material world is padam padam yat vipadam natesham. But if you take shelter of one particular boat, what is that boat? The boat of the lotus feet of Lord Murari. If you take shelter of his lotus feet, then this big ocean, this big Bhavasamsara, it becomes like the water contained in the footprint of a calf. It becomes so small. So how difficult it is for you to jump over that little pool of water, little pond of water that is so tiny. How big is the hoofprint of a calf? It is so tiny. Okay. Is it very difficult for you to jump over this little hoofprint? No. But it is very difficult for us to cross over the ocean. If you have the boat of Lord Murari's lotus feet, then that big ocean, it becomes like the water contained in that little hoof of a calf. So this is what Brahma is telling. So Brahma is recommending to all of us that we should surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord in spite of all the difficulties that is there in this material world. And not only did he tell this in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, but he also says this in the 2nd canto. Even in the 2nd canto, in the 6th chapter, he says this. He says, therefore it is best, Brahma is telling, therefore it is best for me to surrender to his feet, which alone can deliver one from the miseries of repeated birth and death. Such surrender is all auspicious and allows one to perceive all happiness. Even the sky cannot eliminate the limits of its own expansion. So even the sky cannot estimate the limits of its own expansion. Can the sky understand how vast it is? It cannot understand. Similarly, the Lord, he is so merciful and he can deliver everybody. Even he doesn't know how merciful he is. He's so merciful. So what can others do when the Lord himself is unable to estimate his own limits? Such a beautiful prayer. The Lord is, like sometimes we say, Lord Krishna, he's got so many unlimited glories that even Sesha with thousands of the food is not able to complete glorifying the Lord. What to talk about Sesha, even the Lord cannot complete telling his own glories because his glories are so unlimited. Like that, the Lord is so merciful. He alone can deliver everybody. Then why are we hesitating to surrender to his lotus feet? Actually, Brahma is the greatest of all living beings and he's the most learned of all living beings. He's the direct son of the Lord. And he's observed great austerity. He knows our problems. He's the greatest of all mystics. And he's giving the advice to all living beings that we should simply surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord for all success. That's all we need to do. That is all that is needed. And a young man, just like how a young man, a boy will consult his father. No, a young growing up boy, for him, his role model will be his father because that is the person that he's seeing on a regular basis. So he's seen his father see the world outside and he knows that his father knows everything. So he goes and consults his father about discharging his duties. So even now in many families, the son takes up the career that his father has chosen. Because for him, the first role model is his father. So if he has any problems in the career, he goes and he consults with his father. He goes and asks his father about the discharge of duties. And the father, who's a well-wisher of the child, is naturally a good advisor because he loves his child. So he's going to give the best advice. Now, this Brahma, he becomes the father of all living entities. He's the father of Manu, he's the father of mankind, and he's the father of every living entity in this world. So, therefore, we should all accept this wonderful advice given by Brahma for our benefit. Brahma is telling us, just surrender unto the lotus feet of Murari. That is enough. So, if we take this advice seriously and we surrender unto the lotus feet of Murari, then we can find a solution to all the miseries in our life. And this is also the instruction of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. This is the instruction of Krishna in the Bhagavatam. This is the instruction of great devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam like Brahmaji. And this is the instruction of all the devotees that we are taking association from. So this instruction is pretty standard. Everybody gives us the same instruction. Just take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. If we do not surrender unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, what else will happen? We will automatically surrender to the material nature. There are only two possibilities. One is either you can surrender to Krishna or you can surrender to the material nature. Now, if you surrender to the material nature, the treatment is not great. But if you surrender unto Krishna, then the treatment is perfect. So this is the difference. Even the material nature that we are thinking we are going to take shelter of, even that is dependent on the Lord. That is also dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, this is my energy, bhinna prakriti rashtada. He says, maya dekshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Even this material nature is under my control. So why should we take shelter of the material nature? Rather, we can directly take shelter of the Supreme Lord. So like this, by surrendering unto the Supreme Lord, it is mentioned in this verse that one automatically becomes happy, one automatically becomes liberated, and he stops suffering. So these are the different indications. One gets liberated from all miseries, one gets perception of all happiness, and one's life becomes auspicious immediate. This is what the verse says when Brahma is offering prayers. These three things will automatically happen. So simply take shelter of Krishna. Such liberation and happiness that is achieved when you take shelter of Krishna, that is also unlimited like Krishna. Just like how Krishna's glories are unlimited, the happiness that one gets when he surrenders to Krishna, that also becomes unlimited. Just like he gave the example of the sky is unlimited. The sky doesn't know the greatness of the sky. If the bird takes shelter of the sky, then the bird is safe. Similarly, if we take shelter of Krishna, that is unlimited, our happiness also becomes unlimited. And in fact, the happiness increases. It's not stagnant. It just keeps increasing and increasing when we take shelter of Krishna. Or the happiness that is obtained by going back to Godhead, it continuously expands. That is the nature, anandham buddhivardhanam, right? It just increases and increases. So instead of taking shelter of this world, the recommendation given by Brahma is just take shelter of Krishna and your happiness will keep increasing. It is never stop. It goes on ultimately increasing until infinitum. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. So this spiritual happiness is Anandamvadi Vardhanam, which is the ocean of happiness that keeps increasing. And it is not stagnant, it is dynamic. Yeah. So these are the beautiful realizations given by our Acharya. So all that we have to do is take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Now let's see what else Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has to say. He says, at every step in this world, we are bewildered by false ego and we are proudly identifying ourselves as the doer of our activities. That is our nature. We feel we are independent in this world and anything we are doing, prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. So we are proudly thinking that we are the doers of these activities and we are constantly attached to the sense gratification. Because we are thinking we are the doer, we think that we are the owners of this activity or this place. So doership and ownership results in attachment. The minute we think this belongs to us, I am doing this, automatically there is attachment. That is the condition of the people here. Yet behind the severe prescription of being affected by oppression, punishment, and threefold miseries, the incomparable mercy of the Lord flows like the Falgu river, which flows underground. I just gave the analogy of the waves of the ocean and the steady current beneath the waves of the ocean. Now, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gives us another analogy. He tells us that this material world, you have all these problems. You have the threefold miseries. You have continuous punishment. You have continuous oppression, one problem after the other. Now, all these are very, very difficult to overcome. It's like a continuous turmoil. But beneath this, there is a steady current of the mercy of the Lord, just like the Falgu river. So if you go, you all have recently read about the Falgu river that flows in the region of Kashi. When Mahaprabhu went to offer oblations to his departed father, he went to Kashi, and there we saw the glory of the Falgu river. What is the greatness of the Falgu river? You'll see that actually there is no water on the surface. When you see the Falgu river, it's all dried up actually. It appears that there is no water on the surface. It is covered with sand and it appears that it's all dry. But then if you just push your finger within that sand, if you just put your hand within that sand, you'll actually end up realizing that there is a river that is running beneath this sand. So it is very, very covered up. Okay, if you just put your foot down, you'll get into the water. Like that, the Lord's mercy is actually very accessible. It appears as if it's covered because of this material world, because you're connecting with this material world. You're continuously identifying with things of this world. You're thinking that you're disconnected from the Lord. But the Lord's mercy is a steady river that is flowing like the Falgu river. You push your hand a little bit, you can immediately access this water. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, since in this material world, we face innumerable varieties of inconveniences, obstacles, disturbances, dangers, and misfortune. When our sense gratification is disturbed as a result, we condemn the misuse of the independence as godlessness. It is our misuse of independence. We are thinking that God is not there. God is not helping me. This has nothing to do with God. Okay, it is our misuse of independence, which is the root cause for the threefold miseries of life. And we simultaneously develop a distaste for absorption of matter. So when we think, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is telling us, when we are misusing our independence, we are having problems. We have problems. We end up being tormented by the threefold miseries of material nature. But however, we are thinking our independence of this freedom, this minute independence, our misuse of this minute independence is not the problem. We are thinking God is the problem. At that time, we endeavor to search out when we really see sufferings in the correct light. At that time, we endeavor to search out for the eternal benefit and freedom from material enjoyment, which is full of misery. And we remember the unlimited mercy of the lotus feet of the eternal Lord Madhusudhana, the deliverer from sins and calamities. The lesson we get from this is that to endeavor to enjoy or lord it over material nature is an extremely foolish proposition. Remembrance of Krishna, who is Sachidananda Vigraha, and the cause of all causes and engagement in a service based on remembrance is our eternal wealth and source of supreme benefit. He continues to say in the purport, in Bhagavatam 2.1.6, Shukadev Goswami speaks to Maharaj Parikshit as follows. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, or by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. So this was a very large purport by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, which I just read. So Saraswati Pad is telling us that this world is not a very happy place to be in, but the only solution that we all have is to surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna. The reason we are not surrendering is because we are misusing that little independence that we have, that minute independence we have. But the minute we realize that this is getting very, very difficult, I'm not able to handle this world, we try to turn towards Krishna. Some people, they remain atheistic for a long period of time, while others, they turn to Krishna. When they turn to Krishna, that is when the Supreme Lord offers his unconditional mercy, and we are able to cross over this material ocean. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he quotes that the highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at end of life. This is the ultimate purpose of life. So the ultimate purpose of life is not to keep complaining that this material world is a difficult place to live in. Why am I having this misery? God did this to me. I did this to that person didn't do this to me. Instead of complaining about all of these, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is telling, I just discharge your ultimate occupational duty, parodharma, that is to remember the personality of Godhead. That is the only solution to any problem of this world. When we started reading the verse, I asked who prayed like this, and you all said it is Kunti Maharani, right? Kunti Maharani's very famous prayer. It is in fact considered as the best prayer in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is full of prayers by different devotees. In every major episode, you will have a devotee offering prayers. Just in every canto, you can at least spot 6 or 7 devotees continuously offering prayers to the Lord. Prayers are the most difficult sections for us to read through because we think they are very boring. But those prayers are the places where we can draw maximum lessons from. Just like in the first verse, we saw that the prayers of Brahma were so relevant. It was so relevant to our own situation in this world. Similarly, in this particular verse, we see that the word Vipada was used. Vipada means all these different miseries in this world. But what is Kunti Maharani praying? She says, I wish all those calamities will happen again and again so that we can see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Vipada santu tashashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsyad apunar bhava darshanam. Famous verse. Kunti Maharani says this. Give me those problems again and again. Why? Because in the pretext of that problem, I can take a shelter again and again. And by taking a shelter again and again, I can no longer see these repeated births and deaths. I don't have to come back to suffer again and again. So this is what Kunti Maharani is praying. Prabhupada, what does he say in that purport? He says, generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities begin worship of Lord. Which verse is this in the Bhagavad Gita? Anybody would like to answer? All the Bhagavad Gita experts, raise your hand. Generally, 4 types of people come to Krishna. The distressed, the inquisitive, the desirer of wealth. Yes, Sudevi. Go ahead, Sudevi.
Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukrutnojana arthati jignasu gnani cha bharatarshava.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sudevi. Wonderful. So these are the 4 kinds of people who come to Krishna and they begin worship of Krishna, right? When they are in the situation, in a particular situation in the material world. So each one of you have come to Krishna because of one of these 4 reasons. Some people, they come because they are desirous of something. Not only wealth, they can be desirous of so many things in this world. So they come. Some people, they come because they are inquisitive. Some others come because they are in a problem. When they are in a problem, they begin inquiring, why am I suffering? Why do I have this problem? Is there something beyond the world? And that is when they come to Krishna. Others, they might be great jnanis like Shukdev Goswami, but then they get attracted by the beautiful qualities of the Lord and they come to this path of devotional service. So 4 types of people, they begin worship of the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, they cannot approach the Supreme Lord because of being misled by illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, there is some calamity and there is no other alternative than taking shelter of the lotus feet. So constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing yourself for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so many kinds of calamities, they are welcome, Kunti Maharani says. They are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord. If you have an opportunity to remember the Lord, that means you have an opportunity for liberation. So this shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord is that suitable boat with which we can cross this ocean of nescience and we can achieve liberation. And that entire ocean becomes like a footprint of a calf. Because in this world, at every step, there is danger. Padam padam yat vipadam na tesham. So the duty of a sane person is to just take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, because this world is full of material calamities, and these material calamities, they are actually not to be taken very seriously. Prabhupada gives another analogy. Just like when you are dreaming, you see that a tiger is chasing you and a tiger is about to pounce on you. When you are in that dream, there is an apparent suffering. You feel that, oh, that tiger is chasing me. But is it real? Is it real? Is it going to last forever? The minute you wake up from that dream, that experience is gone, right? Similarly, the problems in this material world, they are like these dreams. They come and go. They are not permanent. Today morning, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji was quoting this verse about how like changing of seasons, things of this world, they keep changing. They are not continuously. The problem will not stay forever. It will come, it will go. It will come, it will go. Like those waves of that ocean. Actually, there is no real suffering. It will just come and go. But if you get this contact of devotional service, if you take shelter of the Lord, then you are assured of going back to Godhead. Reversals will come in everyone's life, and they won't be what you want. Okay, sometimes we have a bargain with the Lord. Okay, I can handle, we give him a set of problems that we are ready to face. If you give me this problem, I'm okay to face, but don't give me some major problem which I cannot handle. But life is not like that. You will be put into different kinds of situations, and the only thing that you can do during this time is that we can accept it and not blame Krishna. Just accept it and move on, because life is always like that. Just accept what life is. My Guru Maharaj, he says, a first-class devotee thanks Krishna when there are problems. Okay, when he has to face problems, he thanks Krishna. Why does he thank Krishna? Because he knows that you can take shelter of Krishna, and Krishna will cover you up. He will take care of it. Okay, it may appear that you are suffering or whatever, but Krishna, he puts an invisible cloak over you and he protects you. So a first-class devotee is one who takes shelter of Krishna and thanks Krishna. A second-class devotee blames Krishna. Oh Krishna, I did devotional service, but this is all you give me. Okay? That is a second-class devotee. Now there is a third-class devotee. A third-class devotee rejects Krishna. He says Krishna doesn't exist at all. So a second-class devotee is somewhat better than a third-class devotee. A third-class devotee is in complete denial. You're not there. That's why these problems happen. But however, we should learn to transform curses into blessings. Actually, we all expect things to go our way, but in spiritual life, if you go a little deeper, if you try to go a little deeper and try to access that Phalgu river that is running beneath the sand, then you will realize that devotion means taking shelter, and Krishna is always there to protect us. So this is an experience that you have to go through. It is very difficult to describe in words. Krishna consciousness is a very perfect process. Whether you are in Krishna consciousness or not, problems will come. But for a devotee, handling problems is so much easier, so much easier. It is not cowardice. Some people question us. See, you're all very, you don't have any courage. That's why you transport your problems to Krishna and you tell, oh, Krishna, please take care. I surrender unto you. Now it's, you take care of me. You are not bold enough to stand up for yourselves. That is not the point. Taking shelter is a very beautiful process. It is declaring your complete dependence on Krishna and hence being completely spiritually stable. Okay, so you have to declare your complete dependence on Krishna. That is the perfect process. So remember Srila Prabhupada, when there was bombing that was happening in Calcutta, he was thinking, let this bombing happen. If people were getting scared, they were running away. They were telling Prabhupada, there is bombing and what are we going to do? What's going to happen to all of us? Prabhupada said, it's okay, that bomb is Krishna. Because that bomb dropped this minute, it all depends on our consciousness. If you are remembering Krishna during that bombing, thinking this bomb is Krishna, this calamity itself is Krishna, then the next second we are in the spiritual world. and where we have the opportunity of being with Krishna face to face. It's an instant ticket back to Godhead, right? So every difficulty, we have to try to see Krishna. It's not an easy process, but if we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, if we take shelter of our acharyas, it will become easy when we have the calamity to take shelter of Krishna. I'll share the next verse and we'll go a little more fast. So this was the huge verse with a large purport that I was trying to explain in my own words. Let's move on to the next one. Verse 2 to 7. Hinakara Krishna ebe dasya yoga diyacharane rakaha dasi nandana kariya. O Krishna, please favor me with your service and keep me at your lotus feet as the son of your maidservant. Again, son of maidservant. Like Narada Muni, right? Narada Muni was the son of maidservant. He had complete shelter of the devotees and Krishna took care of him. Just as the son of a grihastha devotee's maidservant does not know anything from the time of his birth other than the service of the Lord, you should similarly always engage me in your unalloyed devotional service, accepting me as the son of your dependent maidservant. If someone is so dependent on the Lord, obviously the Lord will take care of him, right? If you go and declare your complete dependence on the Lord, he will completely take care of you. Then I may remain constantly engaged in your non-duplicitous service and never on the pretext of service to become a master, forgetting you. Beautiful prayer by the child. Bareka karaha yadi ye dhukera para toma bai tabe prabhuna chahimuara. If you once deliver me from this miserable condition of life, then I will not desire anything other than you. This is a promise that is being made by the child. The child is telling Krishna, just deliver me once. Just give me your shelter once and I will not look back at this material world. Almost every single story in Srimad Bhagavatam or the Ramayana or the Mahabharata or even the Bhagavad Gita is a story of Christ, right? Everywhere, every situation where a scripture was spoken was in a very difficult situation. It was during the time of reversals. Look at the setting of Srimad Bhagavatam. The sages of Naimisharanya, they were performing such a great sacrifice for thousands of years with no avail. They are all very learned. They had access to different scriptures. They were thinking that they will be able to mitigate the effects of Kali Yuga. It was a time of crisis. And at that time, Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. And at that time, knowledge was given. Look at every devotee that is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Not one devotee you can say had a very smooth, happy life. Everybody had reversals. And everybody took shelter of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavatam is a testimony of devotees who suffered but took shelter of Krishna and became glorious. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam is just that. Everybody had reversals. Think of the Ramayana. What happened in the Ramayana? The Lord himself took up the role of a person who's having continuous reversals in his life. And he's telling you how you can actually come out of the situation. Think of the Mahabharata, the greatest of devotees, Pandavas. When was a time that they were happy? All the time they were in problems. But they had one happy thing. They continuously took shelter of Krishna. So this is the foundation of all our scriptures. Reversals is the foundation of all our scriptures. That is why it is mentioned that if you really want to surrender to the Lord, if you really want to take shelter of the Lord, hear scriptures. Take the scriptures very seriously. That is the only way. When we read Bhagavatam or when we read Ramayana or when we read Mahabharata or any of these scriptures or even Bhagavad Gita, think about the devotee and take serious lessons from them. Nobody's life is easy and nobody's life will be easy. We have to have only one thing in our hand, which is the lotus feet of the Lord. We have to take continuous shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. How do we do that? Take inspiration from the characters of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are hearing Bhagavatam every day. What is the point if we are hearing and not applying it in our lives? We have to apply it in our lives. When disaster strikes, Srimad Bhagavatam will be our protective armor. So that is the reason Prabhupada said, Nithyam Bhagavata Sevaya, every single day we must hear Bhagavata Katha. That's the only way of crossing this ocean of material existence. So I'll share the next verse, 228. Let's see what else that child says in prayer. 228, yeah. Once you deliver me from this miserable condition of life, then I will not desire anything other than you. 229. In this way, the child constantly burns within the womb of the mother, yet he nevertheless likes that situation because he can think of Krishna. This is something very interesting. All the devotees, when they undergo suffering, they're still okay with it. Why are they still okay with it? Because they know that even at this condition, I can take shelter of Krishna. And taking shelter of Krishna is so wonderful. It is so wonderful. Even this situation is okay as long as I don't forget Krishna. The word taho means, in spite of being burned by the miseries of residing in the womb, although the intense pangs of distress resulting from living in the womb are certainly intolerable, since that situation is endowed with the happiness of Krishna's service, the child accepts suffering in that condition as relishable as undesirable. So this is the story of every devotee who takes shelter of Krishna. In spite of the reversals, we still think it is still okay as long as I can serve Krishna in some way or the other. It's interesting that the child doesn't want to come out of the womb. This reminds me of the story of Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami also, he was thinking, let me stay here itself. I don't want to come out of the womb. Shukadeva Goswami, he heard the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? But of course, he came out and he heard the Srimad Bhagavatam. But even when he was in his mother's womb, he was thinking, I'm scared of coming out into this material world. Because the minute I come into this material world, I'll be engulfed by this tapatraya. And maybe I will not take shelter of the Lord. So let me be here and let me just not come out at all. This world is a miserable place to be in. So that's how he was thinking. He was not ready to come out of the womb. Similarly, this child, this fortunate child who's praying in the womb, he's also thinking, it's better I stay here. I will pray to the Lord and I'll stay like this forever. Let me suffer. I will continue to offer prayers instead of coming out to this material world. The minute I come out into this material world, immediately I am tormented by all these three different miseries. That is, miseries by other living entities, miseries by my own self, my mind and my body, and miseries by unforeseen circumstances like, Adi Deva, right? Like earthquakes, whatever, all these different problems that is there in human life. So the child is thinking, I don't want to come out. I better stay here and think about the Lord. Just like our Shukadeva Goswami refused to come out. And then finally he comes out and he walks out. He just walks out as a 16-year-old boy. And then his father has to call him. And finally, after hearing the 2 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, he feels, okay, now I can hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, so it's still okay. And he comes back. There is another story of a great sage, Nammalvar, from the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. He is known to be one of the most prominent acharya, actually, one of the most important alvars, the alvar that retrieved the works of all the other alvars. So there are 4,000, they are called the Divya Prabandhams, the 4,000 verses, the works of the alvars. This was all given by Nammalvar. Actually, it was repeated by Nammalvar to his student Madhur Kavi Alvar. So this Nammalvar, when he was actually born of the 4th Varna, a Shudra Jati. His parents, they had this child. And this child, when he was born, he did not cry, because as soon as a child is born, what happens is the child comes out of the womb and the child begins crying. If the child is not crying, that means there is a problem, right? So the doctor comes and then he carries the baby, puts the baby upside down and starts hitting the child so that the child starts crying. The child has to open up his mouth, swallow the air and start crying. That is the symptom of coming to life in this world, crying. You come to life in this world by crying, okay? If you don't cry, it's abnormal. That's how this world is. If you're not crying, something is abnormal, right? And it starts from birth itself. Now, this child that was born, this Nammalvar, when he was born, he did not cry. He just came out. And everybody got scared. Oh, he's not crying. There must be something seriously wrong. It is said that when a child is born in this world, there is a vayu. the vayu of ignorance. Vayu means air. The air of ignorance. It is called as Shatavayu. Okay. So this vayu comes and envelops the living entity the minute he is born. And because this vayu envelops you, you begin to cry. Okay, that is what is said in scriptures. So the minute you are born, the Shatavayu envelops you, and because of that, you start crying. You take a breath like that, and then you start crying as a baby. Anybody who has seen the delivery of a baby would know this. Now, what happened in Nammalvar's case is that he got angry with that Shatavayu. So he's called as Shatagopa. That is the name of Nammalvar. Shatagopan, they say. His name is Shatakopa. That means Kopa. Kopi means to get angry. So he got angry with the Shatavayu and he refused to allow the Shatavayu to envelop him. So he's called a Shatakopa. And again, similar to Shukadev Goswami, it is described that this boy, the parents were very worried. He didn't eat. Like immediately, what will the child do? The child will start crying and then he will want to drink milk. And there are so many things of this material world that every normal human being does. But this child didn't do any of it. He did not eat. He did not cry. He did not speak, try to attempt to move or speak or do anything. So they took this child to a temple in Alvar Tirunagari. They take the child to that temple and they see that the child did not have any life symptoms at all, proper life symptoms. But this child, he crawls after a few days of taking him there, after he's named and they take this child there. He crawls and he goes and sits inside a neem tree. The parents abandon this child and they go on. This child grows in that neem tree till he's the age of 16. And then at the age of 16, when Madrakavi comes and speaks to him, he says the first verse. That becomes the most important verse for that entire sampradaya. So you can imagine the child sometimes in the womb is kind of, he's thinking, though I'm suffering here, it's better to be here than come to this material world. But rest assured, don't be so worried. Okay. Even if we come here to this material world, by the mercy of Krishna, that is so easily accessible, we are thinking it's not there. It's like that Falgu river. Okay. There is something beneath. So try to access it by the mercy of our acharyas. Take devotee association, read Srimad Bhagavatam, access that mercy and take shelter of the Lord. Even if you're outside, it doesn't matter. Inside also, you have to take shelter of the Supreme Lord in the womb. Once you come out also, we continue to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And that is the only solution. Reversals in this world will be there, but the call of Srimad Bhagavatam, the call of the holy names, these are all like the alarm clock that wakes us up when we are sleeping. Jeev Jago, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. So that alarm clock is the wake-up call, that morning Srimad Bhagavatam class, morning chanting call, right? So we have to take shelter of these different calls, and then we'll be able to come out of this terrible situation. Okay, before we open up the forum for questions, that's all we have for today. It was a lot philosophical, and from time to time I was losing track of what I was talking, but we have something interesting for everybody. All you 26 participants are going to have fun. We are going to have a game. We are going to play Jeopardy. Okay, so this is going to be a cool quiz, and it was funny that it is very similar to what happened in the morning Srimad Bhagavatam class, but honestly, believe me, I had prepared for this Jeopardy game on Saturday itself. So let's see if we all can participate in this game. I'll unmute everybody. I hope allow participants to unmute themselves and we'll start playing. Okay, give me a second. I'll share screen and we'll play. You can all raise hands if you want to participate in the game. It's a fun game. It's based on
Mataji, mute everybody, Mataji. That would be better because otherwise everybody will just say the answer. Then it won't be fun.
Okay.
Raise hand only we will follow.
Okay. Okay. So let's start the game. So for those who don't know how Jeopardy works, basically we have some questions here. I know that children know all this very well, but adults, we are also backward. We don't know half the things. So here I have a set of questions. We have to identify. So a description will be given about a character. You have to identify who that character is. Now, what is the theme? The theme is the reversal they went through and their response. How did they handle that reversal? That is the theme. Throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, as I mentioned, every character has gone through reversals. So we have characters from the first canto, 2 sets. Okay, so four characters, eight characters from the first canto, 3 characters from 2, 3, 4 cantos, 3 characters from 4, 5, 6 cantos. That means 4 has some overlap, few characters from the 4th canto, and then bad examples. Sometimes we should also learn from bad examples. Just like how I was mentioning, there are many good examples of great devotees. Like we mentioned Kunti, Narada Muni. Even during reversals, they said, give me more. Ye dil mangi more. I want more and more. That's how they were. So these are all good examples. There are also bad examples of people who react wrongly during the time of reversals. So those bad examples are these 4. Okay. You as the audience can now raise hands. Everybody raise hands. Everybody participate. And you can tell me which square you want to unlock. You can say either in this first column, second row, something like that. You can say for 200 or for 200 or for 300 or for 400. You can call out which one you want. I'll show the description. You should get the character. This is the game. So we are going to follow the theme of reversals and reform. Okay, first we have Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Which one do you want, Mataji?
Mataji, good 100.
First column or second column?
First one.
Yeah, reversal. Sorry for the wrong spelling. Mother died. Response. He took it as special mercy of the Lord. We just covered it.
Narada Muni.
Too easy. Okay, good job. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Next, Sudevi.
Good 2, 3, 4, 300.
Okay, so from canto 2, 3, 4, it could come and 300. Okay. Did sacrifices for the pleasure of the Lord, but he was advised by Brahma to stop it because he was creating disturbance to another devotee. Now you have to tell me who is the character and who's that other devotee we are talking about. This is from 4th canto, Great King.
Oh, Prithu Maharaj.
Who's the other devotee who felt disturbed?
Indra.
Yeah, very good. Indra is also a devotee. Okay. So very good, Sudhi. Good job. Very smart. Paneshwari Lakshmi Mata. Oh, I have to unmute you. Sorry.
Bad 100.
I like bad, actually. It's fun.
Okay.
Chased by Arjun. But what was the reaction he had? Instead of reacting nicely when he had a reversal, in fear, he released a weapon.
Who is Aswatthama?
No, very easy. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Now we have Sukakar Krishna Prabhu. Let's see which one you want, Prabhu.
I want good 4, 5, 6, 300.
300. Okay. Appears to be an apparent fall down, taking multiple births. But how did he react? He never forgot the Lord and attained perfection at the end of the 3rd time. This is from the 5th canto. 3 births.
Ajamila.
3 births. Think about how he came back again and again.
Mataji, can I go?
Oh, 1 minute, Mataji. Just give him a little time. Because it's an easy one. Yeah.
3 times he came back.
Came birth. And the first time when he was there, when this person was there, he did a mistake and he had to take birth again. And then he took another birth, but he never forgot the Lord.
Jadabarat.
Super, Prabhu. Good job. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sorry.
No,
My mind was not working.
It's very late in the night, Prabhu. I totally understand. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. Yeah, next is Vinita Mataji. You want to go again? Go ahead, Mataji. Which one do you want?
Mataji, if Anita Mataji raised new one, afterwards.
Okay. Anita Mataji. Oh, I have to unmute you. Sorry, I keep forgetting. Yes, Anita.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, just describe me what is this game about, because I was 2-3 minutes I was out of the forum.
Okay, there are many blocks here. Just choose whichever block you want. And you have to guess the character.
Hopefully I will answer. Maybe maybe 2, 3, 4. This one.
400 or 200, 100? Which
No,
one?
I'll go for 300 only.
See why? Oh, did we finish this? Oh, yeah, we finished this. You can't do the same thing. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. 200? Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this person was sent out of his residence and accused to be a traitor. But he came back home and he spoke for the welfare of his sibling. Who was this?
Vidura?
Correct. Very good. See, it's a reversal, right? You're kicked out of your home. You're trying to do good for your brother, but he throws you out. Reversal. But how did he react? He reacted for the benefit of his brother. Very nice. Who's next? Okay, nobody else has raised hand. So we'll go again. We'll go back to Vinita Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Good one, 200, Mataji.
I don't know why you're choosing only the easy ones. This you know already. Many difficulties, all life prayed for more calamities.
Okay, Queen Quinty.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Sukakar Prabhu. Oh, Charu Mataji. Yes. Sukakar Prabhu, then Charu Mataji. Yes, Prabhu. Choose one.
Good one. The second row, 200.
Look at this. Cursed to die, decides to engage in a key limb of devotional service. The reaction. The reversal was that he was cursed to die. But how did he react? He decided to engage in a very important limb of devotional service for the rest of the days. First canto.
Which canto?
First. He was cursed. You're going to die. Okay, in a few days. So he took up.
Parishit Maharaj.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Charu Mataji, which one do you want? Actually, it should close, right? I'm doing escape, I think. That's why it's not closing. The ones that are chosen should close down. Okay. Charu Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Good one. I mean, row 1, 400. All 400, all 4 over?
400. Go ahead, Mataji. Reversal. Dissatisfaction and spiritual master did not appreciate him. Response, introspected and took shelter of the same spiritual master who rejected him.
Vyasadeva.
You are rejected by your work is not you, but your work is rejected by a spiritual master. Your spiritual master is telling you, what is this jugupsitam? Detestable work. But then he introspected and he thought, oh, I should write the Srimad Bhagavatam. Very nice. Thank you. Who else? Anybody else? Any new persons who are just watchers? Okay, Padishwari Mataji, I'll unmute you. Go ahead, Mataji. Which one do you want? Wait, let me.
4, 5, 6, 200.
Cantos 4, 5, 6, 200. Seriously practicing bhakti, but was asked to take up worldly duties. He carried out his worldly responsibility, accepting the order of his superior for the greater good of everyone. Who was this?
Swayambhu Manu? Yeah, is that the Manu? I forgot which Manu.
Is what? Swayambhu Manus? Fifth canto.
His son. What's his name? Priyavrata? No, Priyavrata?
Yeah. Wonderful, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, this is what.
Karpagavalli Mataji has raised her hand. Karpagavalli Mataji has raised her hand.
Karpagavalli Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji. Which one do you want?
Mataji, 4, 5, 6, 100, Mataji.
I hope we didn't do it. But let's see. 4, 5, 6, 100. This is interesting. Insulted by one parent, initially described by a sage, again and again he had issues. Okay, one parent insulted him, then he was discouraged by with. But how did he react? He took shelter of the Lord on the instruction of another parent, and he was fixed in his goal. Fourth canto. Small boy.
Huh?
Small boy.
I'm sorry. Durvan.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. See, that's
Thank
how
you.
is, in spite of even the guru is not ready to help him, and his stepmother kicks him out, but still he's ready to go with firm determination.
Thank you, Mataji.
Who else? Anybody else has raised hands? So Devi, you want to go again, baby? Go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. Bad 400. I just wanted to try out bad.
Bad one. Yeah, more fun. Okay. Lost his brother. So he spoke great philosophy for a grieving family, but did not follow his own teaching.
Hiranyakashipu.
Wow. Such a difficult one, right? You did it so easily. Very nice. Yes. Good, Sudevi. Very nice. Who else? Sukhakar Prabhu. Huh? Okay, Sukhakar Prabhu. Which one, Prabhu?
Bad 200.
Okay, bad 200. Father insulted apparently, and as a reaction, he cursed the king.
This is the Shringi.
Correct. Shringi, you're getting the same family story. Okay. Next, who wants to go? Just unmute otherwise. Whoever wants to. Oh, Sukhakar. Anita Mataji, go ahead. To unmute, yeah. Actually, I'm not.
Hare Krishna. So I'll go for good 400. Done. 400 done. Okay. Good 1 400. The second last.
Yeah. He was tortured and rendered handicapped, but he did not blame the wrongdoer. This is from the first canto. Think and answer. It's difficult.
It's tortured and rendered handicapped.
Okay, he is an animal. Okay. The character here is an animal. First canto. Somebody was torturing him and cutting off his.
This one, Kali. Yeah, the Kali was torturing Mother Earth.
And?
Bull.
Bull was?
Yeah.
Who was the bull?
I don't know, Mataji.
Dharma.
Dharma. Okay.
Yeah. But what happened? Dharma did not blame the wrongdoer. That was his reaction. He said, it's my karma. It's okay. See, the same theme that we are following now. A devotee thinks it's a karma, but actually, the third person doesn't see it as karma. Third person should understand that it's a special mercy of the Lord. And the devotee should also know it's my karma. It's okay, but still I should take shelter of the Lord. That's how Dharma, the bull, also behaved.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Then let's see. Dharma, and of course he was with Mother Earth. Parima Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can I go for a good 300? Yeah.
Separated from his intimate friend, he took shelter of his friend's instruction.
Separated from his intimate friend, took shelter of his friend's instruction.
Yeah. First canto. Even I was thinking for a minute, what did I write? Okay.
Yeah. Friend. I can't remember, Mataji.
Okay, first canto. So let's think about the first canto chapters. The first chapter, of course, you have the 6 questions of the sages. Second chapter is answers to many of the questions. Third chapter is all the incarnations. Then you have Narada Vyasa Samvad. And then something happens with the Pandavas, right?
Yeah. Separated from his intimate friend, took shelter of his friend's instruction. The Pandavas.
Now, who was that?
Separated, intimate friend, he was separated. Wait. Who was his intimate friend? And took shelter of his friend's
and his intimate friend also gave him instructions, right?
Oh yeah, Arjun. Oh my God. Took shelter, separated from his intimate friend? No. Arjun was not separated from his intimate friend.
Yes, because his friend, he had come with the news that Krishna had departed the world.
Oh yeah, that's true. And took shelter of his friends. Yes, that's Arjun. Yes. I
So
got that. A tough one.
tough one. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
This is very tricky, Mataji.
Yes, I know.
Yes. Anyone else? Next.
Okay, I don't know. Can I try one more?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead, Mataji. Which one do you want?
I'll try. Just try. Good 4, 5, 6, 300. Yeah, that one.
Appears to be an. Oh, this we finished. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah. Okay. Then I'll go for this one. Wait. Good. Yeah. This. That 300. Did sacrifices for the pleasure of the Lord, advised by Brahman, stopped as it was creating a disturbance. Yeah, this also we finished, Mataji. Prithu Maharaj. Then 200 up above that one. Yeah. Sent out of his residence and accused to
Done,
be a traitor.
Mataji. Done.
Done? Okay.
Sometimes I don't hit the space bar, so I'm supposed to hit the space bar after everyone.
Okay, then go for the 200. Good one, 200. Good one, 200. Yeah. Cursed to die, decides to engage in a key. This also is done. Parikshit Maharaj.
Yeah.
Okay, we are done. Yeah, okay. Then good 2, 3, 4, 400. Okay. Was blasphemed and insulted, tolerated and left the place. However, when another devotee was mistreated, he decided to punish the wrongdoer. Blasphemed and insulted, tolerated it and left the place.
Fourth canto.
Fourth canto is the story of what, Mataji? I'm sorry. I'm very bad. I'm very bad at that. I cannot relate this. I only remember seventh canto is Prahlad Maharaj and
fourth canto, I'll tell you the list of stories then. Fourth canto, we have Dhruva Charitra, we have Prithu Maharaj, we have Daksha story, and one of these three. Think about it.
He was blasphemed and insulted, tolerated it, and left the place.
Yeah.
That was Dhruva Maharaj. However, when another devotee
Mataji,
was...
can I try?
Yes. Wait. We'll just give her one more minute and then you can try. Yeah.
Treated and he decided to punish the wrongdoer. Another devotee was mistreated. Which other story? I cannot remember.
Okay, you give up.
Can
Then
I give you a hint? Can I give her a hint?
Yeah, give her a hint.
Okay. So the clue here is he was insulted by somebody, which he tolerated, but when that same person did something to somebody else, he reacted strongly.
Yeah, and that somebody else was his own wife. Okay, now you have the answer. That's someone else.
I didn't know I was so bad.
No, Mataji, she gave complete answer to you. You need to hear clearly.
Mataji, one more can I say? Yagya. This person, he did yagya.
Yeah, see, one more hint. And the other devotee was his own wife.
I'm so
terrible. And he was his father-in-law, the one who blasphemed him.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Lord Lord Shiva.
Parima Mataji, you did it.
You did it.
Unbelievable. I cannot do it without you guys. Never.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Without devotees association, we are nowhere.
I can't do it. I'm nowhere. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah. Charu Mataji. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Good 100, row 2. Draupadi.
Very good. This is nice, right? It's also easy. Good. Thank you, Mataji. Draupadi. It was too easy anyway. Yeah.
Good 100.
Good 100. Okay. Oh, this we did now already. Now the first two we did. I should actually
third one. Oh, the Uttara.
Uttara. Very nice, right? Very easy. Good. Very nice. Uttara. Yeah. So now we are left with 3 more. Who wants to go?
Mataji, can I go with this bad 300?
Okay.
Please help me, before itself I will say.
Did not have children.
Did not have children.
Oh, come on, this you have to do.
This
This one, now we are in Chitraketu.
Yes. Now we are doing.
The wives of Chitraketu.
Wives of Chitraketu, yeah.
Bad examples. Okay. They're bad examples. So just because the other co-wife had a child, it's a bad way to react to kill that child. They are bad examples. There's a reversal. They don't have children, but they should pamper the child and take care of the child. Instead, they killed the child. Okay, bad example. Now, we have
good 2, 3, 4, 100.
Good.
Good 2, 3, 4, 100.
Husband left her. She took shelter of her son's instructions to perfection.
This is Kadambani's wife, Devoti Mataji.
Devoti. Very nice.
Very nicely made this one. I want this full list. So good you have made.
Bad 100, Mataji.
So nice.
Bad 100?
Bad 100. Karpagavalli Mataji, you want to go ahead?
We'll give her the last one. Okay.
Please go ahead, Mataji.
Oh, we did this. Okay.
Arjuna in fear of Akrutam.
Okay, Karpagavalli Mataji, do this.
Yes, Mataji, 400. First to become a wanderer for doing greater for good for his 2 sins of sin. Then I don't know, Mataji, which just to become wanderer.
Okay, who is the one who wanders in all the universes?
Narada.
Narada.
Narada. Yeah, he was cursed by Daksha to become a wanderer. He said he will not be in one place, roaming around. And he accepted it very tolerantly. Narada had the power to counter curse, but he did not. Right? He said, oh, very good. Thank you for the blessing. Because he didn't want to stay in one place. Very nice. Yes, that's it. So we all
very nice, Mataji, this one. Very interactive and
very nice and
help to think as revise also.
Thank you so much. The full Bhagavata Madhya.
To do all these things. Very nice, Mataji.
Yeah. So this is how everyone's life is. Nothing is easy in this world. But
mind is a thing you can think and answer. No, you're always thinking the Bhagavatam. No, it's very nice, Mataji. Thank you. Great work done. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Any questions or comments or realizations anyone has after all that tough philosophy?
Thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful class. Actually, you told about the child in the womb. But at last, you made a point saying that wherever we are, we have to take the shelter of the Lord, whether we are inside the womb or we are outside in this material world. So just we have to take the shelter of the Lord. And I like the point that when you said that outside the non-devotees, when they say that you're not very stubborn to face the problems. That's why you go to Krishna and take shelter of him. Yeah. So, but that is not the point. That we are just surrendering. That we know that our soul wants to do that devotional practice. So that's when we realize, then it automatically walks towards Krishna. So that's how we are approaching him. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, one thing. As the baby is inside the mother's womb, it is able to think of Krishna and think of our Lord. And once it comes out, it is forgetting Krishna. No, Mataji, it is forgetting and it is going into the material world. And the mother or parents or anything only, they should only tell the baby to get into the bhakti, this thing and all. Either the parents should advise them, or the Guru Maharaj, and that soul, it should take the shelter of the Guru. Either it is finding So, as far as I am concerned, means my mother used to tell me of the Lord, and I was just wondering, Mataji. Then only I was thinking like that. No, then one Guru Maharaj they told to, I'm in Kanyakumari district, and and one Guru Maharaj only advised me to go to the Tirvattar Koil. I was in some troubles, no, but I was not able to read this, and he only advised me to go to Tirvattar temple. You catch hold of Tirvattar, the Adikesan foot, and put Tulasi Mala every Saturday, and then your problems will be solved. Like that, Mataji, I was doing regularly, and now also I'll go to Adikesan temple. But that time I was going weekly. Now I had having fun difficult monthly once in 15 days I used to go. Let's say after that only I came to, now only after this corona only all this Bhakti Sangha group and all very nice, Mataji. I'm really fortunate. I'm thanking God for your association, Mataji, because of your association and your class and all very. I cannot tell words, Mataji. That's thank you, Mataji. Dandavat for all the work you're doing. Thank you, Mataji.
Fortunate to have your association, Mataji, all the way from Kanyakumari, that too from Thiruvattar. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Fortune. Prabhu?
Class was so
Krishna
enlightening.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, your class was so enlightening and so reachful for the heart. So and so much of learning, and today's class I'm going to take that whatever our mundane situation will be, and we're going to take shelter more of lotus feet of Lord Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam first, coming to the Bhakti Sangha Krupa, and then we have a Caitanya Bhagavata class. Mataji, I got one question. Can I ask?
Yeah, you're good, Mataji.
Mataji, I heard that at liberate state, the soul becomes more efficient. So, what is it like that? What is actually is saying, Mataji? So, at our liberate state, it becomes more efficient.
No, becomes more efficient. It becomes more efficient, meaning it becomes more enlivened. You have the association, not face to face. So obviously the soul is going to be much more happier, effulgent and happy there.
And also we're going to be above the three moods of nature.
Yes, so, correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Sukakar Prabhu, you had a question?
Mataji, this thing I like so much, that when we are in suffering, we take the shelter of Krishna and Krishna covers us. He protects us, then we'll have no worry at all. I think you took Prahlad as the main person who was beaten and did so many things, burned, but he was Shramanam Kirtanam Smaranam. So he didn't feel any fear. Same thing happened to Haridas Thakur. He was being beaten at 21 places. And he was praying that they should not be punished because they are doing with ignorance. Same thing Jesus Christ also told. So this reminded me that, but it is very difficult when somebody beats you, will say, "Look, beating me so much. See what Krishna does." He didn't tell the Indian people like that. And he never told to Krishna, "I'm praying always, you still give me so much." So he was happy in both the times. So I don't know how to get that feeling. See, when somebody shouts at you, you feel like you're doing so much, no? See what my Krishna is going to do for you. I will think like that. Even if I don't tell, I will think, "No, Krishna, calm chikur Papa," like that I will tell. Or when so much happening, Krishna, why am like that crying to Krishna? But Prahlad, how he was not, he was so peaceful, smiling. His father was shouting, and he got irritated that I'm shouting and you're just smiling. So how to get that mood? I think that's why Prahlad is so famous. No, everywhere. I think Prabhupada also like Prahlad, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also like Prahlad. So how to get that mood? It is easy to understand, but application. When somebody, family member shouts also, you feel so irritated.
Yes, Prabhu, only two things I can think of. Not that I practice this, but I also aspire to practice it. One is, a lot of us, all of our ego is triggered because of bodily identification, right? including
Ah.
identity. So as far as Prahalad was concerned, he didn't consider any
Body.
Yeah. His soul, his consciousness, everything was completely so immersed in Krishna consciousness that bodily identification was hardly there in that sense. So he didn't consider it personal, very personally, because our egos are so strong, so heavy.
I think the third Shikshastaka he followed completely. But it is very difficult, but it's so difficult. We just fail miserably some places.
Yeah, that's true. See,
But your quiz was. Yes, you tell me, continue.
Unless you're put in a state where you really cannot do anything, you just can't do anything. That is when, actually, till then, even we don't surrender. I mean, I'm thinking about myself too. Like, if I think I can handle it, it's in my control, I won't surrender. I try to go and take it on, right?
Yeah.
Where, in a position where you have no other go, but Krishna will make that happen. When he wants his devotee to learn the hard way, he will make it happen. But that time, just surrender. I mean, the advice would be, don't think that, oh, he doesn't exist, like Maharaj says, right? 3 kinds of devotees. One will say, it's because of you. The other will say, you don't exist. And the third one will say, okay, whatever, now I'm yours.
Right.
Yeah. That's what
So
it is.
he'll just make you to go down to the earth. But the best thing what you did was this quiz models are the best. Do every time this, because this is a real mind-boggling, no? Your mind has to work. 3rd canto, 4th canto, so many stories have gone, and 6th canto, bad rivers. This really you've done so much of work.
But I could go only till canto 6, because after that, there's so many more examples. We have to have like sessions of Jeopardies together. Yeah.
Mataji, one question.
Once in a week, have this one, Mataji. This quiz should be there. That will really revive revision of Bhagavatam. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Mataji, one question. I have one person. I told him he was lamenting, and then I was telling you, don't worry, because Krishna is Antaryami in everybody's mind, and he is only instructing you. If anything done good, also that is for your good. If anything done is going bad, also it is for you. Krishna is guiding you to not go into some this thing at all. And he is telling other thing. Why he is in everybody's heart? He is in the heart of all the bad people also. No. Then why he didn't stop them from doing that work? He's asking. Why he is also in the heart of the killer and some wrong persons, and also no, he's asking. Then I told he is in everybody's heart. He's the super soul. I was telling that I cannot answer that question, Mataji. I know him. He's can you please give me the answer? I'm telling.
I'll try to answer, Mataji, see if it's appropriate. 2 things. One is Krishna is the witness and the sanctioner. Upadrashta Anumanta. That is his role as the Paramatma. But we should not assume that all the living entities have minute independence. When we lose our independence, there is a problem. Correct? Now, Krishna is not such a big autocrat that he even curtails your minute independence. He doesn't do that. Why? Because we all should have minute independence for us to function. Krishna doesn't want robots. For us to have loving relationship with Krishna, we should have our individuality, our personality. Everybody will have minute independence. We are not robots, so Krishna doesn't micro control everything. He lets us be who we are. If he is controlling even that, our thought process or our desire, whatever, if he's controlling even that, then we are all robots. I mean, he's the ultimate autocrat and we have no role at all. So to have a loving relationship, independence is very, 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 every independence. Now, some people misuse that independence, but Krishna will not interfere in that because it is like interfering with their independence, that little independence that he is giving.
Those people, they misuse the independence and then do wrong things.
Correct.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you for the clearance. Thank you,
Mataji. Is it the people who are all doing bad, still they are living happily because they're past good karma, no? Punya karma. So that's why they are doing bad, still they are having a good life.
Yeah, somewhere that equation is getting, whatever this one balanced somehow. Yeah.
And some people, they say, I'm doing good work, still I'm suffering. Because your bad karma is paying off now. You're going on that stage.
Definitely, that's true. But good or bad, whatever the situation may be, if we take shelter of Krishna, then our response to that situation drastically changes. So the situation itself, we cannot alter. Okay, everybody's life, devotee, non-devotee, whoever, the situations we have to undergo, we don't alter. But the way we respond to those situations is in our control because we have taken shelter. Krishna helps us. Right.
But nobody is happy. Even Ambani, if you go and ask, he has got some problem, financial loan has to be paid. So in this world, nobody is peaceful. If everything is there, he has no children. Something is wrong somewhere.
So we have these, like those waves and that, the water below. So the top part is full of many bubbles. Those bubbles are like the problems. We are so stuck with that bubbles. We are popping that bubbles continuously. We are forgetting what is there beneath. Rather than sitting and popping those bubbles, let's actually concentrate on the Falgu river that is running down, that mercy of the Lord.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, you were saying about this Falgu river, right? Can you tell one more time? Thank God I just remembered this. This one I was about to ask.
So this Falgu river is a river that flows near Kashi. We saw that pastime of the Falgu river. It's very, it looks like sand dunes, like there is sand on top. But if you put your hand a little bit, actually there is a river flowing below. It's covered with sand dunes. So like that Falgu river is like the mercy of the Lord. It's very accessible. But we are hovering
like this jackfruit, we say, right? Outside it is like what we say in Tamil, they say, no? Then, but inside heart, you're so sweet like that.
Yeah, correct. It's like that. Yeah. You just have to access what's beneath. Yeah.
Mataji, it is in Kasi, Mataji. It is running in Kasi.
Yes.
Kasi, it is running. Okay, I haven't been there, Kasi, the same thing.
Even me. Even I just heard from the class this and I'm telling you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Darshini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, am I audible?
Go ahead, Mataji.
Mataji, my question is that sometimes when reversals hit, like, when I surrender to Krishna, I feel that, there's no one else to whom I can surrender, so I surrender to you. But at the same time, I heard from a Babaji in Vrindavan that, every time you ask Krishna for help or you ask Krishna for something, you are spending your, the names that you have earned. Like, we spend like each name that you earn, the Harinam that you earn. So I feel like I'm just taking a loan and, there's an EMI because there's no name I've earned properly. So I'm just taking a loan and EMI. I'm just asking for Krishna. I'm asking Krishna for help. But at the same time, if I don't surrender, I feel like I'm becoming too egoistic because I know that I don't have the ability to solve anything. So, I don't know what should be the right mood when I'm actually surrendering during reversals.
So Mataji, our definition of surrender is very important. Our definition of surrender is not that we surrender because we want something. It should not be in a demanding mode. That is what happens when we say we are surrendering to Krishna. We think, okay, I surrender unto your lotus feet. Now it's your duty to come and protect me. Surrender is unconditional. Surrender to Krishna out of love and unconditional, whether he solves your problem or not, is not be the motive behind surrender. Rakshishyati iti vishwasa goptritve varanam tata shadvida sharanagati. Atmanikshepa karpanya. So it is complete humility. It is not a demand. Okay, I'm surrendering to you. I have this problem. I have this reversal. Come and resolve the problem. No. Surrender means out of love. You just take it. I don't care about this problem also. I am yours. That's surrender.
Is it Mataji Asli? Is it Asli Slava Padarada Pinaswam? What you're telling is the same.
Whatever you do with me, as Ashishlewa Padaratam Pinashtamam, Adarshanath Marma Hatam Karotova, Yatha Tatava Vidarat Lampato, but Prananath Paraha. What are we telling here? That doesn't matter. I'm yours. Like Prabhuji is telling, you can do anything with me. I'm just yours. You take care. That's all. We are not trying to bring control of that situation. If you're trying to bring control of that situation, what we are doing is I'm saying I'm surrendering to you. Now you bring the situation in control. That is not surrender at all in the first place. Surrender is take me. That's all. I'm yours. You do whatever you want with that situation. Does it resonate, Mataji? Are you able to connect to what it
Yes,
is?
yes. Yes, Mataji, I'm digesting it.
It's difficult. Only when we experience it, we'll know what it is. Yeah.
So Mataji, like what should be my mood be when I'm going to like sit for japa during that time? So what should I just tell Krishna during that time?
That's all. You just want to experience Krishna. That's all. We don't want anything from Krishna. We just want love. That's all. Just love Krishna. Krishna responds. That's all. That is all.
So when I like sit, so I should tell that irrespective of whatever is happening or whatever is going to happen, you can do whatever you want with me, but still you just don't reject me. So that should be my mode, right?
Correct. Let my remembrance of you never wither. That is what the child is praying in the womb, right? We read. Yeah. Let me always remember you. Let me hear Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the only desire I have all my life. Let me hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me think about you. All the acharyas, they pray only that. Doesn't matter where I am born. Even if I am born in hell, let my remembrance of you never wither.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, and like, I'm a neophyte devotee. So like for the first time, when we see the Srimad Bhagavatam set and Chaitanya Charitamrita, I feel like, will I be even able to finish this in this lifetime? And then there are like more books to be read, and they're like when you like listen to classes, they're like so much of nectar. So there's like the greed to read more, but the time is so less. So like, how do I deal with this?
That's true, Mataji. That's very true. Reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Reading Srila Prabhupada's books is an ocean. I mean, Bhagavatam, if you read once, it is not enough because the second time you read, it's completely new. The third time you read, it's completely new. But our desire is to at least read it once, right? That is our desire. So there are different ways of doing this. There is one app. It is called Be a Sage Page by Page. You can download that app. Okay, I'm just giving you a very simple technique. You can download that app. It's called Be a Sage Page by Page. And it will guide you how many chapters you have to read, how quickly you have to read, what you have to read, and how many days. Bhagavatam.
What is the name? What is the name, Mataji?
Be a Sage Page by Page.
Be a Sage.
Mataji, can you type it in the chat box?
Yeah, I'll type it.
Page by page. Okay.
Just download that app. See, today with technology, everything is easy. Page by
but
page.
It will occupy more space. Big memory, all 12 cantos.
No, it will not have the book. It will just tell you your lesson plan. And you can easily you can finish Chaitanya Charitamrita, whatever you want. In a fixed number of years or fixed number of months, you can put that. Follow that app and do it. It's possible. Okay?
Yes, Mataji, I just remembered one teaching that Amrendra Prabhu mentions in his videos and classes. Page by page, become a sage, escape the cage before you age. So I just remember that as soon as you told the name of the app, I just remembered that.
Yeah, correct. Escape the cage before you age. Yes, good.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, is there can I contact you in case if I have any doubts or something regarding devotional service?
Sure. You're most welcome to. I can send my number.
No, Mataji, I have it. I have your number, but still, I just want your permission before texting us. Thank you so much, Mataji. Grateful to you. Very grateful to you. Dandavad Pranam.
Sudevi Mataji. Sudevi, dear Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Preeti. The class is very beautiful. I learned many lessons. Like one was that like the child in the womb is praying that, my Lord, I'm ready to suffer in the womb, but I don't want to come out and see the material world. It's so like suffering there. And the game was nice. I loved it. And I just had one small question that why did the parents abandon Namalwar when he sat on the tree? Is it because he didn't have any life symptoms? That's why, Mother.
He didn't have any life symptoms. Yes. They didn't know what to do, so they just left the child in the temple at the lotus feet of the Lord, and they went. And then the child crawled, and he went and sat in the tree.
So, Mataji, how did he grow?
He grew inside the tree without eating, nothing. He just grew.
Yeah.
God.
Mataji, just one question, Mataji. Hare Krishna. I just heard it or read it somewhere, Mataji, that the first Alvar, I guess Nammalvar, appeared on the planet like in a few days after Krishna left the planet. Is it true?
43 days after Krishna left. Just imagine, he just missed.
I
How
know.
horrible that would be. And he lamented throughout that I just missed seeing Krishna face to face. He lamented throughout his works.
Oh, wow.
Who missed, Mataji? Who missed?
Nammalvar. 43 days after.
So sad.
Really sad.
So, but he didn't miss. Paramatma is there. No, only thing he didn't see face to face.
And sitting in one place, he was able to talk about all the 108 Divyadesams and sitting in one place. He has not visited a single temple, but he was able to tell about the deity there, how the beauty of the
Krishna manifested.
Mataji.
Feeling sad, the class is over. I didn't feel like getting over. To keep on doing it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, yes.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी माताजी नारद मुनि जी उन्होंने क्या किया कि उनको वो जो he was given by Lord Sri Krishna Veena, what was and then he said that he was cursed, but they cannot stay in one place, so you need to travel. So then he accept the curse. But then what he has done, the Lord Krishna gave him Veena, the specific instrument, and glorifies. He can travel anywhere and everywhere. So behind that boon has given to Narad Muni, what he has done? I don't know, so I'm asking.
Okay, let's pull up that verse from Srimad Bhagavata. This is going to be 1:6.
I think the curse was given by Daksha, no, Mataji, that we cannot stay in one place. Who gave the curse to Narad Muni?
Daksha.
Daksha.
Yeah, Daksha only, Prabhu. Okay, let me pull up this verse, 1:632. Here we go, Devadattam. Yes, Daksha. Okay. Devadattam imam veenam swara brahma vibhushitam mucha katam gayamana charamyaham. Thus I travel the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called the Veena, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Kapur. The musical stringed instrument called Veena, which was handled by Narada, handed to Narada by Lord Sri Krishna, is described in the Linga Purana, and this is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. The transcendental instrument identical with Lord Sri Krishna and Narada because all of them are of the same transcendental category. Sound vibrated by the instrument cannot be material, and therefore glories and pastimes which are broadcast by the instrument of Narada are also transcendental without a tinge of material inability. The 7 singing meters, namely Sarigama Padani, are also transcendental and specifically meant for transcendental songs. A pure devotee of the Lord, Sri Narada Deva, is always fulfilling his obligation to the Lord for his gift of the instrument. And thus he is always engaged in singing his transcendental glories, and therefore it is therefore infallible in his exalted position. Following the footsteps of Sri Narada Muni, a self-realized soul in the material world should also properly use the meters of Sarigama, etc., in the service of the Lord, constantly singing the glories of the Lord as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. So here we go. This transcendental instrument is identical with Lord Sri Krishna and Narada, both of them, because all of them are in the same transcendental category. This is the answer to your question, why Narada gets the Veena. All transcendental. Narada, Krishna. So,
but Mataji, yeah, that is a transcendental because it's all coming to the transcendental category. But because he got the boon, so he has done something. That's why he got that kind of.
Yeah, because he has served. He is the Bhakti Shakti of the Lord, empowered incarnation for Bhakti. That's why
So he was doing the devotional service through the maid servant, and then he reached to that stage, Mataji.
See here, the previous verse itself says, because I am fixed in devotional service. Anugraham Mahavishnu Avighata Gati Antarbahita Lokam Stri Paryeni Askandita Vrataha. This is what he is doing, unbroken vow of devotional service. Then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I travel everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and the three divisions of the material world. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord. That's the reason. Next verse is he getting the wing.
So Mataji, so he was worshipping Lord Vishnu, Naradji.
Yes.
Not Lord Krishna.
Same, no.
That mood was not Gopi, but he was mood of like glorifying. So it was mood of Vaikuntha.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I mean,
no, just asking for knowing Mataji.
Yeah, he is in Vaikuntha mode. Yes. Generally, Narada is in Vaikuntha mode. Generally, that is the understanding. But he also desired to experience Gopi Bhav. Okay.
He can also go to Golokana.
He can go everywhere.
But there is one song, no, Narada Muni Bajai Bina Radhika Ramano Nami. That song is there. You always.
So Radhika Raman means Radhika Raman, like whose glorification of to pleasure for Srimati Radhika, na? And because Srimati Radhika get pleased,
yes,
it become pleased when you glorify Lord Sri Krishna.
Yes.
So that is the meaning of Radhika Raman.
Yes. Yes, Mataji, you're right.
No, Mataji, I'm not. I'm just learning.
But you're right. You're learning it right.
It's but just coming.
Mataji, you told Narada that he, son of a maid servant is the second birth, no? First birth, what, Mataji?
He was a Gandharva. Only 3 people are discussed in Bhagavatam. Maybe he had many births. Barhana.
Upabarhana. What is that, Nanda? What the thing?
He's a Gandharva. He was singing songs.
Singer.
Okay. Thank you, Mother. Thank
you. Okay. So thank you all so much. And we'll end the call here.
Thank you so much.
Mataji, for the beautiful class. Very grateful to you. And thank you, dear devotees, for participating in the game and also very nice discussion. So we will end the call for today. I would like to offer my obeisances to Mataji and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call. Vajja kalpatarobhyasya kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Her Grace Preethi Vilasini Mataji ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Koti dandavat pranam. Hare
Thank you. From all these sessions, we'll pass it on for the recovery of Her Grace Kaumodaki Mataji. So please keep her in continue to pray for her. Thank you.
Hari
Mataji.
Bol, Jai Jai Sri
Thank
Radhe
you.
Sri. Am
Thank
koti
you.
koti dandavat pranam
Gauranga,
Mataji.
Shinga Bhagavan ki
Gauranga.
jai.
Gauranga, Nityananda.